Good morning, good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day this video may find you. Thank you so much for returning to my channel. If you are a returning viewer or one of my amazing subscribers. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome. Listen, people, this is part two of a video I did a couple of days ago. The concerning pick me women, okay? And I said on that video that I would do part two and part three of this video. And today on the part two, I wanted to dive a little bit more into what I call the good girl pick me woman, okay? And this would be somebody that I can definitely relate to myself, because I feel like this definitely was my situation. And I discussed on the video that I had before how you could be being a pick-me and not even know it. And I said this because of the simple fact that if you really think about it, women have been programmed to be pick-me women. You know, of course, listen, people, we are, as a woman, we are supposed to definitely be someone that is appealing to a man, you know, to somewhat feel his desires, but we're not supposed to be doing anything outside of God's will, okay? So what I mean by that is, people, we can go back, way back to biblical days, where humans had decided that they would go on their own ways, you know. The Romans is one that comes to mind, during a time when they were the culture, okay? And the Roman people had decided that they would, fornication was okay, adultery was okay, having multiple wives were okay. But even though society had said these things were okay, these things were outside of God's will. One of my favorite scriptures is Romans 12:2, where it speaks of, where Paul speaks of to not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And when Paul wrote this, this was a message to the Romans about their behavior, about their sinful behavior. They had gotten into a way of doing things the way that they wanted to do it, as we have done as well, people. And what I'm saying is, women have been trained to be a person that the man desires, to feel his desires. And if we are trained to be that person, and that person is based on carnal values, then this means that we are setting ourselves up for abuse, okay? Sinful behavior is abuse. I've said it on many of my videos where I've talked about how the world has programmed the man that it's okay for him to cheat on his wife. It's okay for him to lie, to manipulate, to mentally, verbally, emotionally, and in many cases, women have endured the physical abuse as well. And we have been told that we're supposed to submit to these type of men. This is not the out of the ordinary characteristics of a man. This is, if you go back and think about your great grandfathers and great uncles and your grandfathers and uncles and, you know, just cousins and older cousins and just on, you could think about the people in your family, even the ones that are staying in the church all the time. You will see these characteristics in men. And even though men, that is not biblical, that is outside of God's will, the world had told the woman that she's supposed to submit to a man with these types of traits. Listen, we've been swindled. The man has been swindled as well. I'll talk about that on another videos concerning the male. This here is about the female and about us being a pick-me woman, saying that we will drop our standards, our moral standards. God says that man is supposed to treat his wife like God treats the church. And even though men are not being that guy, we are accepting them, all while saying that we have our Christian values intact. This, people, is why we're leading to an end in the relationship, in the marriage. We have, like I said on the previous video, we have to start off accepting what is right. Okay? We're not doing that. We're in situations where the world has told us we can be intimate. That fornication is okay. Fornication is making love. It's not anything wrong with fornication. So we start out the relationship already wrong. Okay? And then when we see these things in these guys, we've been trained to ignore them, to put them aside. He may change. We hope and pray that he'll change, and we accept him the way that he is. And this is why some of these men are very upset when we end up in divorce, because they're saying, hey, look, I showed you a lot of these things. You should have been smart enough to know that I was never going to stop cheating on you. You should have been smart enough to know that I was never going to give you the full respect that you deserve. You should have known that I was going to shut down and not talk to you when you want to talk about things and resolve the issues that is going on in the marriage. And instead, I'll go out and give all my energy to everyone else, everyone but you. You should have known this. This is what these men are saying. So, ladies, this part we have to accept, to be accountable that we were swindled, because the word is there. It's in the Bible. We should have never dropped what is in that Bible and start accepting it. But I know we got pulled into it. The women before us did it. And the women before them did it. And the women before them did it. Just like the men before them and the men before them and the men before them. So, I'm saying this to say, people, the pick-me doesn't work. I'll do anything to ensure that this guy picks me to be his wife. We should never have to give up boundaries in order for a man to say he accepts us. We should never have to lower our standards that God tells us that we're supposed to accept a hand in marriage, to accept the relationship. Without these boundaries, people, an end is imminent. It is imminent because, as I've stated on other videos, an abuser does not become a better person the more they abuse. An abuser becomes a better abuser the more they abuse. And this is why we end up with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50-year marriages where the women are just forced to just get out, just give it up. So anyways, people, excuse me, as I've said, this is a touchy subject for us all because we've been programmed to be this way. I remember when I was having problems in my marriage at least 20 years ago, I believe. 18 to 20 years ago. And I went to my pastor's wife. I've mentioned this on other videos and talked to her about it in hopes that she would talk to her husband about it and he would have a word with my husband. The advice she gave to me was to submit to your husband. This is what a Christian, the First Lady, told me about abuse that was going on in my marriage. It wasn't physical, but it was definitely severely mental, emotional, and verbal abuse. And she advised me to submit to that. That's not biblical, people. It's not. God tells us to guard our hearts. God doesn't want any abuse from the man or the woman. And like I've said, things have gotten so bad that it's a flood now of women that have joined the man's team. And they're behaving the way that the men behave because they've seen their mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers be everything to a man that still never changed. Some of them left this world, was never able to be free and get some kind of peace before they left here. That's hurtful for a woman to watch. So I know what it's doing, what it has done to the younger women. I was a younger woman. You were a younger woman. If you're older, you are one now. But do not let the world change you to make you reject God. This pick-me woman, we can't do it. We have to say no to it. I don't care what society says. But anyways, people, I'm going to end this. I like to keep my videos short so you guys can stay engaged. This is part 2 of the Pick Me Woman videos. I'll do part 3 in a couple days and upload it. And I hope and I pray that this video has helped someone. I love you, I love you, I love you. And I'll see you on the next video.